Welcome to part 1 of our 5-part explainer series diving into AutoDock AI. Today, we're jumping right in to unpack a massive hidden enemy in our cities. It's a structural failure that affects almost everyone, and it starts with that incredibly visceral, highly relatable frustration of the daily parking nightmare. If you've ever driven in a major metro area, you know exactly what I mean. You finally reach your destination, but your journey, it's not over. Not even close. You're actually just entering the most agonizing part of the trip. But as we're going to see, this isn't just a minor annoyance. It is a fundamental bottleneck, literally choking urban development and creating a massive hurdle for the future of transportation. So let's dive right into a staggering reality. Look at this. A massive 30% slice of all urban traffic at any given time isn't actually commuting from point A to point B. It's just drivers circling the block, desperately hunting for a parking spot. Think about that for a second. Nearly 1 in 3 cars you see in a busy city center is essentially going nowhere. They're just creating congestion, slowing down public transport, burning fuel, and pumping out emissions simply because they have nowhere to stop. It's this crazy ghost traffic phenomenon that creates a massive drag on our entire urban infrastructure. And, that ghost traffic translates to a profound personal toll. The average driver loses 1.5 hours every single day just searching for a spot in metro central business districts. We're talking places like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, or Kozhikode. 1.5 hours. That is over 7 hours a week. It's practically an entire workday lost every single week, not doing productive work, not hanging out with family, but staring at the brake lights in front of you, slowly going crazy while praying for a car to pull out of a spot. It's just a phenomenal waste of human time and energy. Now, when you take those 1.5 hours lost per driver and scale it across millions of vehicles in India's top metros, the macro escalation becomes eye-watering. That daily, frustrating hunt for parking drains an unbelievable 1.8 lakh crore of rupees in productivity from the economy every single year. We are talking about massive economic leakage here. This accounts for late arrivals to work, fuel burned needlessly, wear and tear on vehicles, and the sheer opportunity cost of millions of people trapped in an endless loop around the block. So, let's step into the physical reality of this and see how it builds into a full-blown spatial crisis. Every single parked car hogs 11 square meters of valuable city land. Now, 11 square meters might not sound like a lot in isolation, but in a dense urban environment, land is the absolute most premium asset there is. And we're taking these incredibly valuable patches of real estate and dedicating them entirely to the storage of dormant metal boxes. It acts as this massive, hidden drain on urban development, eating up space that could otherwise be vibrant housing, community parks, thriving businesses, or fluid transportation networks.
The core of the crisis really boils down to one simple truth. Land is the bottleneck, not demand. Small plots sit completely empty, while the bigger, established parking lots are totally sold out by 10 a.m. It just proves that our cities are fundamentally out of space. The demand for parking is practically infinite in these business districts, but the land to supply it simply does not exist horizontally anymore. You literally cannot just pave over more of Mumbai or Bangalore. Land is the hard limit. It's the absolute bottleneck restricting urban mobility.
But here is the unforeseen consequence we really need to explore today. We know parking is a headache, and we know it costs us time and money. But what does circling for a parking spot actually have to do with the transition to clean energy? How is this purely spatial parking nightmare secretly throttling the global electric vehicle revolution? Well, it turns out it's absolutely everything. They're deeply, inextricably linked.
Because the truth is, the major barrier to widespread EV adoption is no longer about the battery technology inside the cars. Range anxiety due to battery limits, that's quickly becoming a thing of the past. The real anxiety, the real bottleneck, is severe charging infrastructure gaps. If you buy an EV, you need a place to charge it. And where do cars charge? When they're parked. If there's a massive deficit of parking spaces, there is inherently a massive deficit of places to put chargers. You obviously can't charge a car that's endlessly circling the block. And the scale of this infrastructure gap is stark. Right now, India has a staggering 40 EVs competing for every single public charger. Compare that to the US, which sits at 18 EVs per charger, or China, which is leading the pack at just 8. 40-to-1 is a severe bottleneck. And remember, by 2030, there are projected to be around 50 million EVs on Indian roads. If we don't solve the physical space problem to install chargers, the entire EV transition hits a brick wall.
This reveals an insane paradigm shift, and honestly, a massive missed opportunity. Just think about the life of an average car. They sit completely idle for over 14 hours a day, occupying those precious 11 square meters of land. That's a massive amount of downtime. Yet, While they're just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, drivers simultaneously have zero access to charging. We have this massive window of time perfectly suited for replenishing an EV battery, but because the parking infrastructure is outdated and unequipped, that 14 hours of idle time is completely wasted.
Enter AutoDock AI. Their mission is to bridge this exact gap by transforming underused interstitial urban plots into high-capacity, automated EV charging hubs. They aren't just building parking lots, they're building fully autonomous, AI-run facilities. You simply drive in, AI cameras read your number plate and fast tag in seconds, and you walk away. While Phase 1 optimizes flat plots, the long-term vision multiplies that capacity vertically using rotary stacking towers on the exact same footprint, solving both the land bottleneck and the EV charging gap simultaneously.
So, I'll leave you with this thought. What if we could reclaim those 14 hours of idle time and fundamentally multiply the usable space in our most crowded cities? The technology to do this isn't science fiction. It's being deployed right now. Subscribe to AutoDock to learn more, and we'll see you in Part 2.